afternoon. My name is Crystal Belfield. I'm the PCI chair for Potomac River Professionals Chapter of National Society of Black Engineers. I'd like to welcome you to today's Lunch and Learn series. First we'll go over the NSBE mission, the membership overview. We'll talk a little bit about the benefits of being a member. I'll introduce the executive board. Then we'll talk a little bit about our local partnerships we have, our torch program, and then we'll go into today's series, which features Ms. Tanya McNair. The mission of NSBE is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. The National Society of Black Engineers, Potomac River Professionals Chapter, is a professional-based organization that was dedicated to the professional development of Black and other minorities who participate in the field of engineering and science. We currently serve as one of the primary sources for professional development of minorities in the Dahlgren, King George, Fredericksburg, and Southern Maryland areas. NSBE membership is open to anyone that believes in the mission. Our national membership is annual dues are $50. It's open to anyone that has a degree in STEM. It's also open to anyone that doesn't have a degree in STEM, and you just be considered an affiliate member. During the first year of professional membership, your membership dues are waived after you're coming out of college. So that's one good thing. Our chapter membership is $25 annually. So together it's a total of just $75. We just ask you to come to general body meetings, which those are posted up on our website, and participate in our chapter and national events. The membership period it runs from August 1st to July 31st each year. Some of the benefits of being a member of River Professionals Chapter. We offer professional leadership development via a multitude of workshops, seminars, and networking opportunities at conferences and local chapter functions. We also participate in chapter signature programs, which include youth mentoring with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, the Torch program, which is technical outreach community help, and the pre-college initiative, which we work with students at King George Middle School. We also participate in special interest groups to promote technical excellence. Some of our discounts that members receive is Geico, Hertz, Avis, Choice Hotels, airline discounts, and many more. The 2013-2014 Executive Board, Dwayne Nelson, President, I think he stepped out of the room. Angela Nunnally, Vice President. Brandy Jackson, Treasurer. I think she's in the other room. She was helping you check in today. Siobhan Miller, Secretary. Brittany Herring, Program Chair. Myself, Pre-College Initiative Chair. Shamika Pollard, Telecommunications Chair. And Tony Moss, Parliamentarian. And some of our local partnerships. Our first one is with the Rappahannock Big Brothers Big Sisters. With this program, we just volunteer once a week at Potomac Elementary School, helping out with elementary students, and we mentor them, play with them, we help them with their homework and anything they want to talk about and things like that. And also sometimes we also take them out different places in the community for different activities that Big Brothers and Big Sisters offers. We also have a partnership with NSBE Federal Credit Union. It's a member-owned financial institution dedicated to meeting our members' needs by providing quality products and convenient services in a professional manner while assuring financial integrity. We also just recently formed a partnership with King George Family YMCA to help empower adults and youth in the community to become more active, fit, and healthy while stimulating their interest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We also have a partnership with the University of Mary Washington to increase technical awareness within the community by providing an atmosphere to grow technical, managerial, and other professional leadership development skills. Our most recent partnership is with ODU of Dahlgren. This partnership allows us to develop a partnership with the ODU campus here to help encourage young professionals to strive to attain advanced degrees, engineering certifications, entrepreneurship opportunities, and financial independence through ODU distance learning programs. Technical Outreach Community Help is NSBE's community service initiative. We aim to use our technical background to positively impact the community and achieve the following objectives. Provide science, engineering, technology, and mathematics exposure opportunities within the community. Stimulate enthusiasm about science, engineering, technology, and mathematics within the community. We also encourage greater participation in science, engineering, technology, and mathematics at all levels, not just elementary and middle school. A few of our activities we participate in: United Way Day of Caring. This is a one-day event held by United Way all around the country. Members come out and donate their time and help out in different projects in the community that are set up. We also help out with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, as I talked about earlier. Bold for Kids' Sake is a program that's put on by Big Brothers and Big Sisters nationally. Used to put together a bowling team, help raise money to support Big Brothers and Big Sisters. We also help out with Habitat for Humanity, helping build houses for the less fortunate. Shake People Dash is pretty much like an obstacle course for women. It's a 5K run, and last year our chapter helped to volunteer at this event to help the participants while they were running, pass out water and things like that. We're also helping out this year, so if anybody wants to sign up to help or to run, just let us know. A Walk for Education is a single-day outreach activity by NSBE. We go out and we pass out college information, material scholarship information to high school students and to middle school students so that they're more aware of different colleges that are around. A lot of them in this area don't really know too many schools except for Mary Washington. We also do Adopt a Highway, which we go out and help pick up litter that's around the Auburn area, King George area. Several times a year we have membership and fundraiser drives. It gives the community a chance to come learn what NSBE is all about and meet our chapter members, and also gives them an opportunity to donate money to our efforts. And every now and then we'll have networking and social events, such as at Chili's or Buffalo Wild Wings, things like that. It's for members and guests to come out, just socialize and unwind and just network with each other. The Pre-College Initiative is our primary focus, is to encourage students at King George Middle School to develop an interest in skills in math and science by bringing innovative, interactive activities that students can participate in. And this year they're working on LED kits. Professional development program. The purpose is to provide an atmosphere to grow technical, managerial, and other professional leadership skills for our technical professionals. With fully engaged participation in NSBE professional development opportunities, technical professionals are better positioned for promotion and new opportunities at any point in their career. All right, the Lunch and Learn series that you heard today is a series sponsored by NSWC Federal Credit Union and our chapter. And pretty much we're always looking for people that want to come out and speak. So if you want to speak or you know somebody that wants to speak, just let Tony Moss know. It's in the back. You can email him at parliamentarian@nsbeplatonicriver.org. Today's speaker is Ms. Tanya McNair. Ms. Tanya McNair presently serves as the Deputy Program Manager for the Above Board Census Directorate within the Program Executive Office, Integrated Warfare Systems. She manages service radar and electronic warfare systems development, procurement, production, and sustainment for the Department of the Navy. These systems include, but are not limited to, Air Missile Defense Radar, Dual Band Radar, Spy-1 Radar, and Service EW Improvement Program variants for SLIC 32. Ms. Tanya has almost 23 years of acquisition and systems engineering experience. She began her career as an engineering intern at the Naval Air Systems Command and later became a project engineer for the Presidential Helicopter Program, Marine One. Prior to her current assignment, Tanya was the principal Assistant Program Manager for EW Systems, programs within the PDL. In 1991, Ms. McNair graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from North Carolina Agriculture and Technical State University, and continued her education at Industrial College for the Armed Forces, where she obtained a Master's of Science degree in National Security Resource Strategy in 2012. I'd like to welcome Ms. Tanya McNair.
All right, are we ready to go?
I think we're ready to go.
All right. Well, first I'd like to thank Dwayne Nelson and the executive board and the Potomac River Professionals chapter of the NSBE for the invitation to come to speak with you. I've been really excited about this, and then this morning I woke up with a frog in my throat. So please bear with me as I try to work through this. I put together some slides, but I do want this to be sort of a dialogue. If you have questions, please stop me as I go through this. The slides are, things you probably could see in any book or any leadership training class, but I'm, intending to pepper it in some of my experiences as I go through. I've made 2 faux pas already, so I'm going to apologize. First, I did not include an outline of what's in there, and then I also did not include my POC information. But you can find me in the global. It's tanya.mcnair@navy.mil if you want to reach me, and the number is 202-781-2455 if you need to reach me. But again, I am in the global. So after a short intro, I'm going to go through, what leadership sort of means to me, preparation for leadership, what do I think good leadership looks like, give you sort of my leadership perspective, and then I'm going to anchor on a slide that sort of lays out what my leadership toolkit is, and then what I think you need to do to figure out what your own leadership style should be. Okay? So make sure I know what I'm doing here. So, okay. So why would you put yourself out there, right? Why does someone even want to be a leader? Okay, 2 things I think you should take away from that little clip. One is, even though my kids are 17 and 23, I still enjoy animated cinema. The other is, not everyone can be a leader, right? So why did I want to put myself out there when I started out however many years ago? Of course, you guys already saw. But one is because I wanted to make a difference. A lot of times I was a part of a project and I just wanted to see it move forward, and I kind of thrive on that. I get a big kick out of that. And so in order to do that, I was really good at putting plans in place, molding daily performance, setting the standard for the team to move forward, and then creating those long-term goals and achieving those. It kind of gives me a thrill in going through that. And then as I went farther up in my career, being able to put a team in place to do those things. And so having that strategic vision of where they need to go and how they need to get there, creating that environment, coming up with those long-term goals, that's why I really got into this. And so I think you can make a big difference within your team and with your organization And so that's why I got into it. And so to me, leadership really matters, and I'm really passionate about it. So, you know, what do you do to prepare for leadership? What's important, right? So when I started out as an intern back in '91 at NSBE, you know, you had to put together your individual development plans, a 2.5 to 3 year development plan, and all the courses you're going to take, and you had to select a mentor. And so my intern coordinator at the time, she said, you know, you should go over and talk to Daz and Air, Mr. Williams at the time. He had come up through the NAV ranks, and so he could help guide you, sort of put your plan together, because I think you guys are similar in your styles. So as afraid as I was to go over to the Pentagon and meet this, you know, SES, I got on the calendar, I went over and I talked to him. And he laid out for me all the things that he had been through, all the different jobs he had, courses he had taken to get where he was. And so I thought, hey, this is where I could do this. This is where I want to be. I want to go over to the, I'm sorry, you guys can't see me behind this thing. I want to be an SES over at the Pentagon. And so that's what I'm going to do. And so I even set up a chart that said, hey, I'm going to be a GS9 this number of years, I'm going to be a GS11 this number of years, 12, 13, whatever. But I didn't really stick to that timeline, but you know, you have to set a stretch goal for yourself and so you can stick to that plan. And sometimes you end up a little off that plan, that's fine, right? But you have to set a goal for where you want to go. Formal training, you know, coming into the intern program, you get a lot of attention with making sure you get your diarrhea training, all your ethics training, etc. But really, you have to take hold of your career and say, hey, what are those other training opportunities that I want to go get? And I think some of the leadership training classes are those that you have to kind of stretch out for to go participate in. But I think again they are extremely important. At first, when I started going to some of those, I remember thinking, I don't really like these because they're sort of out there, you know, think far-reaching. Here I am, a brand new intern or just out of the intern program. Maybe some of these things don't apply to me, but actually they really do. So we talked about being a mentor, getting a mentor, but I think just as important as going to those formal training classes and learning about your style, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, is being a mentor while you're in the intern program, early on, wherever you are in your career, being a mentor. Right after I graduated out of the intern program, you know, we sort of reached back and we have interns come to work for us. I did a lot of the coordination for some of the recruiting for the HBCU, historically black colleges and universities, so that I could work with people and see, hey, what type of leader will I be? You learn from that just as much, you get as much as you give. So you learn from that what type of leader that you're actually going to be. And so I really, really enjoyed that. The other thing is, and I think it's just as important, is lead from where you are. And even though it's kind of a misnomer because, right, you lead from the front. But what I really mean by that is that you don't have to be, you know, the SES in the organization. You don't have to be the GS15 in the organization. Most of us have led somewhere, you know, be it a section leader in the band, captain of a cheerleading squad, you know, captain of the football team, whatever. You've had an opportunity to lead and see if that's, you know, sort of who you are. So if you have to, if you're able to have an opportunity within your team to lead a smaller effort, to lead a test, putting together a test plan, to lead running a part of the test, whatever, do those things, because if you work on those projects, you grow, you learn from it. You're not always going to be successful. You learn just as much from being unsuccessful as you do being successful. And as you go farther up the ladder, you learn, you grow a little bit more, and you lead. And so I think it's like a, you know, little cycle that you go through, and you need to take advantage of those opportunities when you can. So what does good leadership look like? So we could debate this for days, right? You go to these leadership courses and they throw all these different words at you, and I just threw some words up here because these are some that are important to me. There are a couple of that I didn't include, like trust. I think that's very important. I think he or she has to be a good motivator, someone that can motivate a team, turn a team around if they're not moving in the direction that you want them to move. My husband is actually here. He's Anthony, he's a long-time person that worked within NAVSE, now works in NASA. But that's one of the things he's really, really good at. He's really good at giving people positive and constructive feedback and getting them to turn around. And so that's one of the things that I work with him to try to make sure I'm better at that.
Just don't try it at home.
I learned she's always right.
Very, very good. So, one of the things that you notice that I did not put on here is, you may notice, is get the job done, right? Because I feel like, and I've definitely seen it, and maybe some of you have seen it as well, that sometimes a good team gets the job done in spite of a not so good leader, right? It's just way more painful. I had a team lead who was, if you could put the antithesis of what a good leader is up there, you put that picture there. I mean, every word that you could think of that a good leader should be, just flip it. And that's, I mean, took all the good trips, right? I was in the International Combat System group, and so I got to do all the long to Southeast Asia or Australia type trip. They got to go to Rome and England and all those great trips. Very cliquey, you know, pull the team in that they want to be around them, and then if you weren't in that clique, you sort of felt invaluable. You felt like you weren't valuable to the team. Sort of used people to get information, and then once they got the information, sort of threw you away. They got the job done, but they got it done over budget, behind schedule, you know, and then you got the rest of the team working and they're getting the job done either under or on budget, and the system's working the first time, they're getting all these fleet accolades, but you just don't feel like you're getting anywhere because your team lead doesn't recognize you and appreciate you. And so getting the job is absolutely important. That's what we're trying to get to. But I think that a really good leader sets the environment. They're self-aware, they're confident, they ensure that their team is confident, and the most important is you feel respected, right? I don't want to be that type of leader. I want to be the type of leader that I'm respected and that you feel like I respect you and that I value your part in the team. So I'm going to go over sort of my leadership, a leadership perspective. I'll say it like that. Most times when you check into an organization, right, you see someone, you think that, hey, that guy, the SES or whatever, the 15, they're at the top. And then we always are kind of set up in this pyramid within the organization. And most of us strive to kind of get up that ladder. We do all the things that we need to do because we want to be a good leader. Well, a leader. I say most of us want to be a good leader, but most people try to go up the ladder to be a leader. The very first time I attended a design review where my name was actually on a placard at the front of the table. In my design review book, I didn't have to make my own copies. My design review book was sitting at the front of the table, and I was like, "Hey, I am here." Until I sat down, I thought about it. Like, somebody just really expect me to know something. I didn't. But when I drove up to that meeting, I drove up in my rental car, and my name was on a parking space. So I took my phone out, I took a picture, I sent it to my family and friends. I was like, guys, I am here. You just do not know. But I will say that I have been blessed to have really, really good teams people working around me. One thing I definitely always know is what I don't know, right? I feel like I don't have to know everything, but I do need that. I need to know enough that I don't know everything, and have a team that complements me, my strengths, and supplements my weaknesses. And so I think that's very important. Before I started working, my father-in-law, who's very successful, one of the plant managers at Abbott Laboratories in North Carolina, one of the things he told me before I started working was, hey, I always take care of the people. I take care of my people. If you take care of the people, they will get the job done for you, because they value your opinion. Most people want to get the job done anyway, right? But you just have to create a good environment for them to make it happen. And I really believe this: a good leader inspires people to have confidence in the leader. A great leader inspires people to have confidence in themselves. When I went to ICAF in 2011, we had a strategic leadership course in the class. And a part of the course, we talked about ethics. And so one of the things that always stumps me is, people go up this ladder and they get to the sort of that top in that respective, what causes them to have bad judgment once they get there. And so there was this huge debate about, they were probably doing it wrong the whole way up. They just didn't get until they got to the top. But I also submit that I think once you get there, if you don't keep that humility about you and recognize that your team is really what got you there, that you start to believe your own press clipping, right? You believe that you can kind of get away with anything. So you really need to stay grounded. And I definitely do that. I stay grounded and recognize that I have really close relationships with people I haven't worked with since 1991. And that's because, when I left there, they really felt respected, and they said, hey, keep me in mind for future opportunities. You're going places, and before my last job, I had one guy even say to me, I'll follow you anywhere. He had no clue how that made me feel. I mean, I just, I was like the Grinch, right? My heart just burst out of my little cage there when he said that. So I felt like I probably was doing something right. So again, I feel like have enough experience in that area to say that if you're willing to do that and put yourself out there, then you'll have a team that will follow you anywhere and make you successful. Uh-oh, am I killing the people in the room in there because I'm hitting the mic or whatever? Okay, looks like they're okay, I think. So I'm going to anchor here on my leadership toolkit. For those of you that know Myers-Briggs type indicator, I'm okay? Okay. I am a huge ISTJ. Huge ISTJ. I mean, I'm such a strong J that I got to check it off on the box. If it's not on my list and I did it, I write it down and then I check it off. So I am a huge J. So you definitely have to have a self-awareness about you in order to be successful in this, right? So in my previous position, Kirk Johnson, who's the Standard Missile Pathom down at FC, he's my former boss, he brought in a group, the Arbiter Institute, to work with us to improve our team organization and our team performance. And some of the tools that they gave us, they talked really about trying to keep the team focused and definitely being accomplishment focused. So one of the tools that I still use today is I use quad charts at my staff meetings. And so on the quads, you talk about your accomplishments, your issues, any help that you need, and really the schedule for the next week or month or whatever. So to me, it's great if you go to a meeting because that's a part of the process, right? But I want you to tell me about the accomplishment. What did you check off the box? I want you to tell me about what issue that you encounter that stops you from checking something off the box. And I want you to tell me how can I help you check something off the box. I mean, that's how accomplishment focused I am. And it helps to keep the meetings going. Most of you probably just like me kind of dread meetings, but it's important to be able to keep that going and keep the team working well together. I list communication here as being part of my toolkit. My husband's here, so we got that whole men from Mars, women from Venus thing happening. So we always wonder, how are we successful at work when we can't even communicate with each other? I'm saying one thing and he's hearing something else. But obviously communication is key, right? I need to be able to lay out my goals, where I want to go, and be able to communicate that to people. But what I mean here, what I'm talking about here really is about being able to listen. Communication is a two-way street. So if my team's telling me something's wrong, or if there's some resource that they need, something that they need to get done, if I'm not hearing them, then I could give them all the guidance and strategic vision that I want to. It would be just like talking to my 17-year-old, it's going in one ear and out the other. So it's very important that we work on our listening skills and be able to do that. Take risks. So take risks, I don't mean put yourself or your team or your program in jeopardy, right? We have risk management tools in place to help us identify the risks and lay out a mitigation strategy, or just accept the risk, whatever the case might be. But what I really mean is kind of put yourself out there so that your team knows where you're coming from. They kind of know that you're in it with them and you're ready to stand out in front of them if need be, and take whatever shots, whatever shot needs to come across the bow towards you. They need to know that you're there for them and that they can trust you. When I was in the International Combat System Integration Group within Standard Missile, and that group no longer exists, they're all over in IWS-4 now. But we used to integrate Standard Missile systems into non-Aegis platforms. So, and my program was Korea. So like I said, my program was Korea. So I had never been to Korea before. I didn't really know a lot about the culture, and this program was huge. I don't know if any of you know Mr. Altwig, Admiral Altwig. Mr. Altwig said to me, hey, my purpose is to sell Aegis to the Koreans. So Tanya, don't mess this up, because it's a precursor to us selling Aegis to Korea. Those of you that know Mr. Altwig knows he didn't say it that way. He used some choice four-letter words, but I got the picture, right? Don't mess this up. So we discovered, the other part is, this was a multinational, multicultural, many contracts effort. So I had contracts with then Vitro, Marconi, and BAE, and Raytheon, and the Koreans Navy had contracts with Samsung and Thales in the Netherlands, and BAE in the UK, so it was a huge effort. Well, my team discovered a latency issue across the combat systems land. We needed to get that resolved. But of course, all the contracts are signed now. Another thing you need to know about the Koreans is once they sign a contract, they don't. I shouldn't say that, that sounds right. I will say that set of Korean Navy officers, which you have to understand about them, was once they signed the contract, there weren't going to be any changes. So, but we discovered a way to fix the latency issue, but it needed to be fixed on their side of the interface. So we, shared emails back and forth, and it's hard to share emails with people that speak English together. So imagine the tone and how that actually just probably made the whole situation worse before we went over to Korea. So anyway, we go over to Korea, we get there. Another thing you know about the Koreans, this set of Korean Navy officers, they like to have big dinners for the team, and they like to drink. And they like to go to karaoke. So I knew this, but I knew there was no way I could just drink and hang with these guys. Oh, and I'm the only female, as usual, in the room. So I took a pill bottle with me over there, and I said, hey, I can't drink, I'm on medication. And they bought that for about half a night. We got to karaoke, and I'm thinking, the other thing is they like for you to hang out with them and drink with them because they feel like that's the way for them to see into your soul, for them to determine if you're going to be a good business partner for them. Anyway, we get to the karaoke place, and my husband and son, this is the first time they're hearing this story, right? So, anyway, so we get to the second place, the karaoke place, and I'm looking through the book. I'm like, hey, I can put myself out there, right? I can take the risk because I really need to get these people on my side. I need to work through this whole thing. So I said, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to sing. So I'm up there and I'm singing, beat it. The whole Billie Jean thing. I'm singing Cindy chopper, the whole deal. One of the Korean officers comes up, gorgeous baritone voice. He sings a Korean ballad. I have no clue what he's saying. But another Korean officer comes up, they want to waltz, so I'm waltzing, I'm doing the whole bit. Once I sit down and I look up, there's a screen about as big as this screen up behind me. And let's just say there's some not so choice programming being shown up on the screen behind me. And all I kept thinking was, oh my God, no way. Was I up there doing that while they were showing that? But let me tell you something. The next day, when we started talking about that latency issue, they figured out how to get it done on their side. Now, I would love to think it was because we had the best technical solution and that we offered it in a very professional manner. But I can promise you, and that my team actually believes, right, that it was because I was up there singing Beat It in front of this choice programming. So, again, right, my team felt like I put myself out there for them. And again, they're like, hey, let me know. I'm right behind you, boss. Let me know, right? So, anyway, so that was an opportunity when I put myself out there. I mentioned Mr. Altwig earlier. Mr. Altwig was in SES and in the PEO, and then he went on to do DAS and IWS, and then he went on over to NBA. Before that, he was a retired admiral, so he was pretty big, in the Navy. And but he was one of those bosses that he was gonna make a decision. That's one of the things I really loved about him. He was gonna make a decision. Now sometimes he made decisions before you gave him all the information that he needed to have to make the decision. But I really liked that about him, because he was one of those guys that he was going to move out. Because in his words, he felt like most decisions are not irreversible, right? Let's just move out. Let's do a risk assessment and then let's just move out. So I really picked that, I picked that up from him. When I was a teenager, I was in a pageant, and we had to put on a ball, one of the areas we had to put on a ball gown and get up there and give a quote. The lady got up there and she said, not to decide is to decide. I remember thinking, what the heck is she doing? I did not understand it. Well, let me tell you, having worked for the Navy for the past 10 years, I know exactly what that means, right? So I definitely don't want to be one of those type leaders. I hold true that most decisions are not irreversible, and you have to not be risk averse, and you have to determine, do that risk assessment, and then make the determination, hey, we're going to move out, and then also understand though how far down that path can I go before it isn't irreversible, and when you do that, then the team feels like you believe in them and you're ready to move out. So I feel like that's been one of the things that's been successful for me. And then once you get down that path, and guess what, something doesn't go as well, then you got to hold yourself accountable, because you're the leader, right? You can't say, hey, my stupid team told me, blah, 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 right? You got to hold yourself accountable because you're in charge. And the other piece of it, though, is when you do also have to hold your people accountable. The same way we come to conferences and we go to training and we learn about leadership and about our subject matter area, we do that because we want to get better. You don't hold your people accountable and have frank conversations with them about their performance or what it is they're doing, then you're not doing them any favors, and they want to move up to where you are as well. And the only way you do that is to give them constructive feedback. And so I also think that's key. So when I started working, and certainly not as much anymore, because if you look in this room, I'll say about half, maybe even more than half of people in this room are female, right? But when I first started, almost every meeting I was in, I was the only female in the room. And if I wasn't the only female in the room, I was certainly the only African American in the room, right? And you can bet sometimes not everybody in the room was okay with that. But the one thing I did know was that if we were talking about program management, or we were talking about my project, I knew what I was talking about. And that's what I mean by own it, right? I can't spend time with a chip on my shoulder about what everybody else thinks, because I can't control what they do or how they think. I can only control my reaction to it. And so you have to own it, right? You have to say, look, I know what I'm talking about. And even if you encounter in a situation where either some prejudice because of gender or race or whatever stopped you in that moment, you've learned something in that moment, you learned something about it, and another moment will come. And it's probably the moment that was probably supposed to be there for you anyway. That probably wasn't the one for you. My mother used to tell me that all the time, like, she does not understand, she's not know what she's talking about. But I would tell you, almost every time, you know, I would never tell her that, but almost every time, she's been right? For me to be where I am right now, if I had taken or gotten some of those positions or moved into those areas that I was trying for at the time, then I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I'm having fun. It's a tough job. It's a huge portfolio. I work for probably one of the smartest Navy captains in the world. I mean, most Navy captains, they either know the technical side or they know the program side. Captain Small knows both. And he's not shy about it. You know that either. But I'm going to learn a lot from him. So I'm really excited about the position that I'm in right now. I talked about continuing to learn. I went to ICAF, spent a year there. It was, you know, work aside, think big thoughts, and so that was a really good environment. Talked about being a mentor. I probably should have put this next one at the top of the list, which tells you probably I'm not doing as well with it as I probably should. But balance is really the key. You have to figure out how do you re-energize, right? If you are a leader, you can't be your top self if you're not if you're not able to re-energize and take care of yourself and your family and those things that are important to you. I don't care if it's exercise, doing a hobby, reading. I'm a strong I, so I re-energize by getting by myself and just kind of reading a book or whatever, or sometimes closing my door at work and then coming back out, and then I'm like, hey, what are we doing? What's going on? One of the things that I really, so back when I first started, my kids were younger, you know, I took many a red eye back to be there for a ball game or be there for a band concert. Mario used to send me paper, I'm not making this up, he used to fax me papers to read at the hotel when I got back from work when I was in Tucson, Arizona. I used to go there a lot so I could review them. But I wanted to be a part of that, so I didn't want him to feel like he was missing out on his mom being there or whatever. So, I mean, his dad was there, but I'm just saying. Anyway. So, and I want to thank him because I could not have the career that I have if I didn't have someone that was understanding. I traveled a lot when my kids were younger. Terrell was probably, you know, 2. I actually went away for 3 months to aviation maintenance officer school down in Pensacola, Florida. And DeMario was like maybe 18 months. He probably wasn't even that. He was like a toddler, like a baby. Now, my mother-in-law did help, but I'm just saying, you know, he was very understanding. Very understanding as we did that. But again, it's very important that you take care of yourself. And I knew that before, but I probably didn't learn it as much as I should have until recently, right? When we had the incident at the Navy Yard. You know, we had the incident. We didn't know where we were going. Just imagine, you don't practice for that, right? You leave the building, you don't have your personal stuff, you don't have your work stuff, you don't know where you're going the next day, any of that, right? And you've got a team of 100-some people that support you in your program office, and so what do we do? And so we had a lot of good people along M Street reach out to the captain and I and say, hey, you guys can come set up here. And we had to work to set up grief counseling and with the team, and so we did all that. But I had to step back because after a while, I just had this twitchy thing happening, right? My adrenaline was going so crazy. I just didn't even understand what was happening until I finally had to say, hey, Tony, you need to step back. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't do what you need to do for these people. So you have to have that balance and take care of yourself. And the same way you want balance, take care of yourself, your team needs that balance as well. So you need to be sincere with them and empathetic, sympathetic with what they're going through. Because they feel like you're in it with them and that you're gonna take care of them, and they're gonna take care of you, and they're gonna take care of whatever the project is you're working. And so I really believe in that. And then obviously commitment, you know, whatever that vision is, wherever you're trying to get to, make sure the teams know you're in it whole hog, don't be kind of waffly or whatever. I've had a boss that was, God love him, right? He was the nicest guy in the world, but, you know, he was the nicest guy in the world, right? I mean, we kind of felt like we weren't going to get anywhere because he wasn't committed to anything. He was just kind of this waffly guy. And so you definitely need to be committed to what you're moving out and moving towards. So I kind of droned on and on for a little while about what my toolkit is and what I think a good leader is and what I've seen. But what's really important is that you need to develop your own leadership style. You need to develop your own toolkit. And you're only going to learn that if you know, talk to people about what their experiences have been. Take advantage of those opportunities that you have to learn. Because the experiences are going to be different, the environment's going to be different, the people are going to be different. And so you have to figure out how you handle that, right? And so how do you do that? To me, you know, it's all about self-awareness. You know, do I really want to be a leader? There have been times where I've said, you know what, I can't do it. I've had enough, I don't want to do this anymore. So I kind of stepped back in my career. I left. I was working at MD, the Missile Defense Agency, and I was working in the forward-based radar program, and I was developing an acquisition strategy for that radar. And I just I'd had enough. And so I went to work in the manufacturing producibility group, and they had these small projects that you could work on. I mean, my budget was no more than maybe $2 million at that rate. I think, so I traveled a lot on the program, but it was a little project. We did technology insertion and smaller technology developments, like if any of you know about the TDAX, the throttle divert actuator system. That project started in the M&P group at MDA, right? We teamed with the now AV, EGBMD group, and to come up with an alternative to their SDAX. So I like doing that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, we needed to have a OSD level weapons battery industrial base study. So I went as the MDA rep, and somehow I ended up leading this entire team across multi-services at the OSD level. Like, how did I get here? This is not where I started out. I had stepped back, I wanted to be a part of the team. But if that thing drives you, right? If you the type of person that wants to be in charge, that because you have a vision about where something wants to go, it doesn't matter really if you try to step back. Eventually you're going to end up back in front. So you really have to, you know, take stock if this is something you really want to do. We talked about setting personal goals. The other big piece is continually self-assessing, right? Am I doing what I said I was going to do? Am I practicing what I preach? Have I gotten too comfortable? You know, I've stayed in jobs mostly about 3 to 5 years. My last job with Stern & Miss was probably the longest time I've stayed in one place. That was 5 years, I think. But if you get too comfortable, then you really need to start looking at where are some other challenges that I can go take on. And I think that'll help you move forward yourself. If you haven't taken the Myers-Briggs type indicator, I think that's important, not just so you know what the type of person or leader that you are, but also so you can recognize within your team those other type indicators and understand how best to get deal with their strengths and work with them within a team environment. I went to a leadership course up at UVA, and it was one of those Myers-Briggs type indicator type courses, and I didn't realize that until like after about day 3. And they kept putting us in these little groups to do these little projects. But you're not getting graded on these things, right? So you're just kind of like, hey, let's just, again, I want to check the box. Let's just move on and get it done. So one day they put me in one of these groups, and we had about 30 minutes to do something, and 20 minutes in, we still hadn't gotten anywhere. So I was pulling my hair out. So finally I just picked up the pen. I said, look, all we need to do is da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know. Well, later I figured out what the problem was, and while I was pulling my hair out, they had put me in a group. I was the only J in the group. The rest were P's. So they spent 20 minutes trying to figure out what process should we go through. And I'm making light of that, right? But I'm serious. A type indicator is not that that's how you have to be. It's a preference. It's kind of where you lean. Because I've heard people say, hey, ENTPs ENTPs are the visionaries. They're really the leaders, right? That's not true that an ISTJ cannot be a leader, right? I can act with the best of them. When I go out there, a lot of people say they don't think that I really am an I, but I am. It's where I get my energy from, right? So I can go out there, but you best believe when I'm done, I hold it right back in my corner until I can re-energize and then go back out there. So it's very important, I think, to self-assess. It's that the 360 feedback is very important as well. I mean, as you know, you get feedback from those that are from your boss, from your peers, from those that work for you, from your customer. It helps you to develop, your action plan and help you be honest with yourself about where you are and what it is what you need to do to move forward. This would not be a leadership class, a leadership talk, if I didn't put some books up here for people to read. I'm not huge on self-help books. Again, that's where I get my energy from. I want a book, I want to just get into a story. I don't want to, really write an action plan out of a book. I mean, I do that at school, but I think I wrote these down because these are books that I've read that I really thought were interesting and I got something out of it. The All In, the Educational Journal, David Petraeus. When I was at ICAF, we studied everything there was to know about David Petraeus. Everything. Ad nauseum. Right after that, the incident happened, right? All stuff came out. I was devastated. I felt like I was invested in this man and his leadership style, right? And everything he had done. I was like, oh yeah, he's great. I'm writing everything down. That goes back to the topic we were talking about earlier, right? What causes a person to get up to a certain level and I really believe he just started to kind of believe his press clippings. I don't know. But anyway, these were some books that I felt were really good. The Leadership and Self-Deception, Getting Out of the Box, is an easy read. It's very good. It's by the Arbinger Institute. And then the younger, next year, they have one for men and there's one for women. It's a book written by two gentlemen. One is a medical doctor, Dr. Henry Lodge. He comes from it from a medical perspective. Chris Crowley, from what I can figure out, is like this old curmudgeon-y guy who's just, I've been living and everything's going great and these are the great things that I've done. But they've done it together. And so it was a really good book to help me with the balance. And as I get older and start to, feel a little more creaks in my neck than I felt before, man, I'm going upstairs. My knee feel like that, trying to figure it out. So those are a couple of the books that I've read that I think have been helpful. So I've gone on and on. If you guys have questions, it's almost 1 o'clock, but I'm going to hang around here for a little bit after. But I did want to play this last clip. If you listening to me, you didn't want to be a leader. Or you didn't get something out of it, you will be ready to go fight whatever bear or lion or admiral or whatever once you listen to this clip. So, oh, see what? Thank you. Thank you.
I know my role.
Yeah, you're
We will run.
I don't think that helps.
Come on, you. This could be the greatest night of our lives. But you're gonna let it be the worst.
And I guarantee you, we won't go by your life. You won't regret walking out letting them get the best of it.
Well, I'm not going home.
Not too far!
I'm gonna stay right here and fight for this lost cause.
The day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not this day.
Yeah.
Going
in grateful recognition with her support with the National Society of Black Engineers Mission and Professional Development Program. So we really appreciate Ms. McNair coming out and supporting our 5th successful Lunch and Learn.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. We do have events that we participated in last month, but if you must leave, we understand. And I guess the projector's cooling down, so we'll also email you the slides, the presentation from today, approximately 1 hour from now. So we are efficient. So thank you again for coming out, and we appreciate it. The other room, thank you.